Okay, welcome to section 12.4, multiplying and dividing rational expressions. This is the second video. In this video, we're going to be focusing mainly on dividing the rational expressions. In the last video, we did a lot on multiplication, and I hope that video clarified some things. And now let's move on to the division of rational expressions. So dividing rational expressions is much like dividing fractions. So when you are dividing a fraction, you need to be paying attention to that whole concept of multiplying by the reciprocal. So if we had the situation A, B, C, and D, where A, B, C, and D were non-zero polynomials, so essentially nothing equaled 0, then we could say this is A over B divided by C over D. And then after that, we could actually say this is technically A over B times D over C, which means we could then rewrite it as A times D over B times C. So we're going to play around with this a little bit, and we're going to actually work ourselves through this first problem. We have 1 over x divided by x minus 2 over 2x. So looking at this problem, our first step needs to be the whole concept of multiply and flip. So we are going to say 1 over x times 2x over x minus 2. Instead of the x minus 2 over 2x, we just flipped it. After that, we can then multiply straight across. So if we were to multiply straight across, we have 1 times 2x, which is going to be 2x, and that is over x times, oops, that's not the right color, x times x minus 2. After that, all we need to do is do a little bit of simplification. What I see in our simplification is this awesome x. We have an x here and an x here. Those x's can simplify, they can disappear, they can cancel out, and so if they do, all we have left on the top is a 2. We have then x minus 2 left on the bottom. So there is our final answer. And all we're doing is flipping or multiplying by the reciprocal, or flipping that second fraction or second rational expression. So let's practice this a couple of times. We have x squared minus 2x over x divided by 2x divided by x squared plus 2x plus 1. So let's first multiply instead of divide and flip that other equation. So this will become x squared minus 2x over x times x squared plus 2x plus 1 over 2 minus x. After that, let's do a little simplification, and as we know, simplifying means factoring first. Factoring is super important. So let's factor our top equation right here. We have x squared minus 2x, so it looks like we have a GCF of x. So that becomes x minus x, or x times x minus 2. On the bottom, we just have x for that particular equation, so that's okay. And then we're going to multiply that by, we have x squared plus 2x plus 1. That is our awesome little perfect square trinomial, which we can factor out as x plus 1 times x plus 1. And we have 2 minus x left over on the bottom. So from there, we now need to do a little bit of simplification. First little bit of simplification we can do is get rid of this extra x on the top and the bottom. Second bit of simplification is noticing something. We have x minus 2 and we have 2 minus x. And if we remember from the last section in 12.3, a way that we can simplify something when it looks like an opposite binomial, or it is an opposite binomial, is by literally rewriting this second binomial as x minus 2, rewriting it the way we want it to look, and adding a negative 1 out in front, multiplying it. So that can then be rewritten as x minus 2 times x plus 1 times x plus 1 over a negative 1 times x minus 2. From there we can finish up our simplification. We can cross out our x minus 2's, and what we end up with for our final answer is x plus 1, and we're going to square that, and we still have a negative out in front. And that negative, essentially, we can bring that up in top because that's the only thing that's left, a negative 1, and we don't have to rewrite this as over 1 or over a negative 1. We can just simply write this as negative x plus 1 squared. Let's try another problem. We have 3a squared b divided by b, or over b, divided by 3a squared plus ba, or 6a. I think. Yes, 6a. So looking at this problem, I see that we have that same sort of issue that we were dealing with the multiplication. That issue is essentially this polynomial. It's not over anything, but we can make it over something. We can put it over essentially 1. And so I'm going to rewrite all of this. We're going to divide, and we have 3a squared plus 6a over 1. So from there, we can then do our multiplication by the reciprocal. So we're going to flip this baby. We're going to end up with 3a squared over b, or 3a squared b over b times 1 over 3a squared plus 6a. From there, all we need to do is simplify, and we know simplification means factoring. Those are synonymous. They are synonyms in this case. So we have 3a squared b. We can't do any factoring there, but it's all being multiplied by 1, so we can get rid of all that, over b times GCF of 3b, or 3a, looks like, not b. Let's not screw us up. 3a, and that leaves behind an a and a 2. So we have a plus 2 remaining. So after that, we just need to do a little bit of simplification. Let's do our last little steps of simplification. Our 3's will cancel, our b's will cancel, and a will cancel. So all that is left up top is an a, and all that is left on the bottom is a plus 2, and that is our final answer. Let me see if that's our last problem. It is. So practice some of these problems. Work your way through the homework. If you have any questions, as always, please ask, please email, please call, please text, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.